you're giving the people what they want to see. I mean, I found myself, we were doing radio, Coach and I were on Daria Mel the other day, and they had every single snap of his practice was airing on TV. And I found myself watching it. Oh, yeah. I was like, I want to see how he's doing. How is he coming along? There's no question.
You wanted to see the misfires, right?
No, I would never root against anybody. I hope he does. I hope he smashes it out of the park. I hope he changes the way that. I hope he does, yeah, right? But I think he's made it really hard on himself. You know what? I think Andre Reed's attitude, those quotes that you hear, are how a lot of veterans and NFL guys in every locker room across the league, and maybe in his own locker room, I don't know for sure, I don't know his own teammates, but they're probably thinking the same way because there is
vitriolic, that
around the league,
around
the league, absolutely. There is definitely that sort of attitude, which is going to make it harder for him because you know how fired up everybody's going to be to stop him when he comes and he gets his opportunity to shine. So yeah, he's overhyped, but I want to see it. I'm buying in. I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
But gut feeling, you think he will fail?
Early on, I do. I think he'll provide some sparks. I think he'll be able to do there and somewhat. He'll be able to, you know, improvise. He's got incredible athleticism. He's got good arm talent. But ultimately, over a 16-game schedule, is he going to be your franchise quarterback, the guy you can rely on to lead, to stay healthy, to not make those mistakes? I'm not buying in yet.
I've sat here and listened to all this for, I don't know, since before they drafted Johnny.
2 years.
Yeah,
he started in college.
It's kind of ironic. I sit and chuckle because I look at it in this way. We've had actually a blueprint of who Johnny Manziel is.
Right.
On the field and off the field.
Sure.
Since high school. Does he go out socially? Done it since high school. Did he do it in college? Did it in college. Won a Heisman Trophy. Then the Cleveland Browns, they had all this information. And they went, okay, but we still want to draft him.
Well, a couple of them in the front office did, and a couple of them didn't.
So they drafted him. You know, and I told a story. I told you. It's like the Tower of Terror in Disney World.
Okay.
Okay? My 2 little girls, Vivian and Gabrielle, 3 years ago, we go to Disney World. And we walk in the park, and the first thing they see is this Tower of Terror. And all the kids are screaming. And they going, Daddy, we want to ride that ride. I said, girls, you don't want to ride that ride. That's the Tower of Terror. Well, wait till tomorrow. Maybe you'll change your mind. The next day, Daddy, we want to go. Let's go. We go. We take the guide. The guy standing at the door, I'm there. I'm saying, I'm not riding this ride. Want nothing to do with it. And the girls, as the door closed, Daddy, you coming? Not coming. Ride goes down. I get to the bottom. My girls' eyes are like this, like saucers. They're like this. Daddy, I said, that's the Terror ride. That's Johnny Manziel. What he did in college, he's doing now in pro football. So don't be surprised, Cleveland. Right. This is what you bought. Okay. You bought the guy that has a social life off the field. And you can't get mad at him because he had success in high school. He won the Heisman Trophy in college doing it. Why all of a sudden, because you gave him a Cleveland Brown helmet in the jersey, you thought he's going to change? He's not changing. That's who you got.
Did they want to ride the Tower of Terror again?
They bought it. They bought it.
That's the question.
Eventually, did they? No, my girls went. Now, 2 years later, my girls said, we might go ride the ride again.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they
that's
might.
his point.
That's what I'm saying. So we're getting mad at Johnny Manziel because what he does off the field. Johnny Manziel, biggest problem right now is the playbook.
Okay.
He better figure out the playbook.
It's a big problem.
So he can use his ability.
Right.
And he's going to have to learn this in pro football. He's going to have any success. 75% of his success in college was outside the pocket.
Okay.
30% of his success needs to be outside the pocket. And the rest of it needs to be inside, like the rest of the guys that play that way. And he will be okay. But if he can't learn that playbook and he can't convince Alex Mack and Joe Thomas in that huddle that I'm all in, man, I'm the first in, the first out, and I'm all about football, he's going to have a hard way to go.
Bayless.
Tower of Terror, give it to me.
By the way, you just brought up a stat that is completely off the top of my head, but I'm going to throw it out because I had it last spring before the draft, and now I can't remember if he was first or second. But last year in college football, inside the pocket, Johnny Manziel had either the first or the second best QBR in all the land, just for the record, because he can, when he's stations himself in the pocket, he can throw some darts now.
Yeah,
they are accurate darts.
You better stay in there.
But you saw that pro day. You talked about arm talent, and Ron Jaworski included of the top pick quarterbacks of Bortles, Bridgewater, Carr. He had the best arm. Johnny had the best arm. So the ability is there to do it from the pocket if he chooses to do it from the pocket. I'm going to tell you what happened last week on this show. We had both Nick Saban and then Bob Stoops, as you recall, both of whom got torched by Johnny Football during the last couple of years. Stoops in the Cotton Bowl, remember that?
Yep.
It was one of the most sensational. Again, I'm an Oklahoma Sooner fan. I've never seen anything like it. He wrecked my football team. At halftime, I read later that they were going to the coaches saying, we had no idea he was this quick, this fast, and this accurate. He picked them to pieces with arm and legs. Then Nick Saban had a whole offseason to get ready for him after what he did to Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa the year before, and you remember what happened. Even though they lost the game, I would say Johnny put on a pretty big show against a defense that was regarded at that moment as the best in college football. Both coaches, when I asked, how will Johnny translate, they're both leaving the set. This wasn't on the air. But eyebrows went way up like, hey, he could do some things in pro football if, back to your point, if he can stay healthy. I don't know if he can stay healthy. He is also high IQ on and off the field. It's another case of, Johnny, what were you thinking off the field when you did that? And then what was that about, Johnny? What were you thinking when we went to the fraternity parties in Austin, Texas, up to your arch rival school? What were you doing? What were you thinking? I don't know what he was thinking. He's got the rebellious streak. It's what you said back to high school. He's going to keep saying to the adults, nah, I'm going to do this. Just watch, and I'll be okay. I'm going to do this.